was a good weekend last weekend, two good wins against two very good teams, Belmont and Tennessee State. Thought we played with good energy in both games and getting better on the defensive end, but those games are behind us. Took Sunday off and then had a good practice Monday and need 2 more days of good preparation for Edwardsville. And then we go to Eastern Illinois on Saturday, but 2 tough road games and just 1 game at a time and getting ready for Edwardsville right now. Questions?
One thing, I heard Latrez in one of the press conference post-game things talking about that he feels the team has its swagger back, or at least I may be paraphrasing a bit. Do you feel the team has that swagger back?
I hope so. We'll find out this road trip. But, if we go up to, Illinois and play 2 good games and play well, and then maybe we'll be in that direction where we're getting it back. But I thought we played with some really good energy. I thought Thursday we played with we were really locked in, especially for 35 minutes. The last 5 minutes almost let the game get away from us. But if you hold Belmont to 50 points for 35 minutes, that's pretty good. But they always make one good last push, and they did. And then Tennessee State, I thought we played well at times on the defensive end. They hurt us on the glass, though. And that's something we've got to clean up because we were rebounding well. But what we're doing a good job is we're getting the free throw line. I think we shot almost 30 free throws on Saturday, and we made them. That was a big key.
Coach, the past 2 games, do you think this is the best y'all played maybe collectively for a while now, maybe since the Auburn game with Charleston tournament?
Well, I think Thursday, Saturday, just watching the tape, I thought we played good at times, but we also had some, there was some times too that, Tennessee State, missed a layup, where we could have done some things obviously better. They missed some, open shots at times, but I thought Thursday was our most complete game in a long time. And it was the right game to have that. And I thought Belmont, helped us maybe refocus to where we need to be in the stretch run. But, having Latrez back, not 100%, but having him back to where now he's the, first guy off the bench. Our depth's different now, our team's different to where, we missed him a lot, when he was out. And, we're back now. We've got a rotation set, I think, going down the stretch. And we just got to continue to work to play better. And like I said, this team can still get better. We're trying to get better on both ends of the floor.
What's the main challenge that SIUE poses for you?
I just think that, with Yelovich and Jones and Messer, they put some guys on the perimeter that our forwards and post players are going to have to guard. I think that's the biggest test that they provide for us, that they have a lot of guys. They don't have a lot of back to the basket guys. They have a lot of face up post players and guys that can stretch the floor and make shots, and you got to chase them around a lot of screens. So defensively, we've got to be really locked in and do a better job than we did here.
How do you keep the team, focused on these next 4 games without looking ahead towards the tournament?
Well, I think we still have a lot to play for. We still have a Western Division championship to play for. We still are in the hunt. We're 1 game behind Belmont for the overall Ohio Valley Conference championship. So, we should be locked in for that regardless right there. That's enough to be locked in. And then, a couple weeks away, we got a great home contest against a great program in South Dakota State with a potential NBA player on their team with Nate Walters. So, that'll be an unbelievable atmosphere, that game, if we can continue to play well. And then you got senior day. So there's 6 games left in the regular season. So there's a lot to stay focused on. And, we want to finish as well as possible. I think we've won, I don't know exactly, but 7 out of 8, so it'd be nice to continue a good streak to go into the tournament and go into the tournament playing well.
Well, they play well at Edwardsville at home. 700 team at home, just 1-9 on the road, though. They seem to shoot a lot better in their own house and can't carry that on the road as much.
Well, that's what you taught me that, when Coach Cronin told you. You measure the team by what the record is where you're playing them, and they're 7-3 at their place. They have some good wins up there. I remember last year, and they beat Tennessee Tech up there last year when Tech had a really good team, and they beat them. So we're going to have to be ready to play. We're going to need another focused effort and playing with great energy on the defensive end. Neither one, I think Eastern Illinois, you look ahead to them, they've won 4 out of 6. So both of these contests are going to be tough for us, but we have to go in there with the right mindset on the defensive end first, and then continue to do what we're trying to do on the offensive end. Get the ball inside, and then hopefully our perimeter guys, freeze them up to make some shots.
And also just talk about both these teams kind of in the same situation, in jeopardy of perhaps not making the tournament if it goes south quickly on, and a potential multiple tiebreakers that a win over a high team, that could do a lot in the tiebreakers.
Yeah, it's a big game for both those teams. They're battling anywhere, and I don't, Moorhead's 5-6, and I think they're in the 5th spot because of Jacksonville State's APR situation. So Moorhead's in the 5th spot, but they're basically just one game behind. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 5 teams really battling and fighting. So every game's important. With 6 games left in the regular season, or 5 games left and 5 games left in conference play, every game's big, and you're going to get everybody's best shot. So there's no gimmies right now, especially on the road.
At this point in the season, how much do you think fatigue is starting to play a role, or how much does that go back to what you prepared for in the offseason?
I don't think it's fatigue. I think we're playing. I thought if you watched this Thursday and even Saturday, I thought we defended well for the most part and had good energy. And, our practices are a little different now. We're still trying to get everything we need in, but not as long, and trying to cut back there so guys can be fresh and ready to play, and just reviewing our principles. And then when we get ready to start working on other team, make sure we take time to, whether it's within shell drill or 5-on-5, make sure we cover the actions of the other team, but get them in, keep them fresh, and get them ready to play.
And generally, the team's pretty healthy besides the standard wear and tear.
Yeah, I think everybody's good. Latrez is probably the most beat up of anybody just because he's not 100%, but he's getting better, and from where he was at Martin to where he is now, he's made great strides, and this is what our plan with him all along was, to have him ready for late February and March, and hopefully have him make a big play for us in March.
You think Latrez's recovery and coming along better, as you say, has that had something to do with your resurgence? You all playing better?
Yeah, I think without question. When you take a starter off your team in the preseason, and you're bringing off you have 6 freshmen in your bench, it's going to change your team. And some of the games, 4 of our 5 losses come without Latrez in the lineup. So just getting him back and getting the experience and understanding, it's not that he's going to get us 20 points, but just being able to defend and rebound, being able to know what we're doing on the offensive and defensive end, and providing some experience and some toughness is a huge bonus.
Just a bit about the freshman. I know Moss is getting his minutes, but recently it may have been a matchup issue. Bree hasn't, but C.J. Ford's minutes have been increasing, and he's done well in those minutes.
Yeah, the thing with the post players now with Latrez, it's just hard to get 4 post guys into the game unless we don't want to be in foul trouble, but unless you're facing that, then you may go to a 4th guy or just sort of for a situation at times. But we needed to get Isaiah a little bit rest at times. I kept hearing people, why did you take, we got to get him a little bit of rest at times, and there was situations that I see that we can rest them, a minute or 2 here, a minute or 2 there, we will. And CJ's responded and played well in both games.
And also about keeping, especially guys like Henderson and Gilmore, how do you have to keep them motivated since they're not getting that extra time? It's coming down the road for them, but as a freshman, sometimes you don't really realize.
Yeah, the toughest thing about that is, both those kids, they because of the injury situations, because of the situation we were dealt, those guys were probably going to redshirt, especially at least one of them, and I hate that they weren't able to do that because I knew when Trez came back, the lineup would shrink a little bit, or the rotation would shrink a little bit. But those guys have been great in practice. They're still working hard. We do some individual workouts with them. And you just got to continue to love on them and let them see the big picture that, their numbers still may be called this year, but you got to have an unbelievable spring and summer and get your body in shape to be able to carry the torch. The thing they need to start understanding right now and learning, and hopefully they are, is when they see a game like Belmont, let them understand what it takes to win at this level, how hard you have to play, how hard you have to compete, and that the expectations what you have here at Murray.
Is Sat making his presence felt in practice?
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I mean, he's only going to make it so much of a presence just because some of the stuff that offensively and defensively he doesn't know. And, in practice, I'm not trying to make sure he does know it. We can get him after practice, or he's doing his individual workouts 3 days a week and lifting with Greg. And but athletically, making plays off the dribble, yeah, he's making his presence. And he's got a great personality and great demeanor. So look forward to good things from him next year. It's good to have two guards, him and Zay, sitting out. That's a positive.